When do you leave? Do you take end of August?
It's not coming up anymore. This stuff comes online. There we go. I'd like to call the regular Board of Selectmen's meeting for Monday, August 15th, 2022 to order.
Candace Bouchard.
Jonathan Morhart.
Candy Perez.
Josh Kelly.
Tyler Shalashi.
Glenn Albanesius.
Stephen Sedlak.
Linda Grappa?
Jack Bork.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
agenda review. Do we need to add anything or remove anything? Seeing nothing, can I have an approval for our regular meeting on August 1st?
So moved.
Thank you, Jonathan. Sir,
Second.
Thank you, Steve. Any additions or corrections? Seeing none, all in favor? Unanimous? Abstentions? Abstaining? Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
Can I have an approval of our meeting minutes, a special meeting on August 10th?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Linda. Is there a second?
Sure. Second.
Thank you, Candy. Any discussion?
These are just starting talking points. Do we know when we're going to have another strategic meeting again?
I believe, no. Yes.
We talked
about some
dates.
Yeah, we had a couple of dates, but nothing was firm
Nothing
yet.
final. Okay, thank you.
Any other discussions? All in favor? Opposed? Abstention?
Abstain.
Thank you, Jack. Motion passes. Citizens' comments. The Board of Selectmen welcomes public comments. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. Please give your name. Anyone? Yep, come on up. Speak into the microphone, please.
Hi, yes, I'm Stephanie Hester, and just wanted to make a statement that I'm in support of the town clerk position remaining an elected position instead of a hired one. I am aware that there have been 16 town clerks in the last 250 years, and it's the most stable position in town. I believe that this is the way that it needs to be and the way it needs to stay. The power remaining in the hands of the people to choose. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? David?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I wanted to say also, as I said last time, I support the town charter as it stands, with the town clerk being elected by the people. Right now, in the town hall and in the charter, you, Mr. Mayor, each selectman who serves on the board, both Democrats and Republicans, or independents. At one time, we had independents on the board, are elected by the people. There are specific positions that the town manager has authority over and who are appointed from the chief of police to the fire department with the consent of the Board of Selectmen. As the former mayor has pointed out, that happens. And I think that it would be disingenuous, to use a good word, Mr. Sadillac always used in the past, to change the charter when it has worked, as Ms. Hester, as Jerry Martinez, as others have said, for so many years. When Sheila Sadlack was the town clerk, this position is one that the people, when Avallard, Mr. Boyd, John Boyd was also the town clerk, all these historic people whose streets have been named at, by the way, Sheila Sadlack should have a street named after her. I think that it's appropriate that it stays the same because it's a good position, and we have a good town clerk, as we did with Sheila Sadlack, and the old, town clerk who was previous to Mrs. Sadlack. So, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And the other question I have is, Mr. Town Manager, every town selectman meeting, I hear about the cats and the status of them. And you certainly did a great job handling that situation. But I have a question. What happened to the poor lady? And what's her situation? Where is she at? And her home and the place that she's living now? That's the only question I have. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
To address those questions, a lot of that is very private, personal information, and I wouldn't want to share that aloud. What I can say is that by state statute, the town is required to assist people who are removed from their home due to some level of closure of the structure that they were living in. So the structure was closed by our housing inspector. It remains so. And the family that was living there, it was not just one lady, it was actually multiple adults, were asked to leave, actually required to leave, and were relocated at this time. I am not personally aware of where they are staying, but they have found other accommodations at this time.
John, anything? All right, moving on to the town manager's report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Running down my list, actually, I'm going to start first with an update that's not on my list, which today I had the opportunity to meet with different individuals from the organization, really the initiative called Fit Together, which is a collaboration between the YMCA and Charlotte Hungerford and the town of Winchester. And I had the chance to hear a lot about the hopeful plans that they have for the Mad River Recreation Area. There's an idea to have a lot of trails through there. I know I've shared this with you before. There are some informal trails back there. The idea would be to try and make them compact and more ADA compliant, connected all throughout so that it's not just patches of trails here and there, and to open it up for more regular routine use so that way we have less unintended use, right? The ATVs, the other incidental uses that may occur, and really make it an attraction to the town. So obviously all of these things require funding. I think that this group is hopeful to go to the state themselves and be requesting an amount of funding for this. There's no request to the town, don't worry. This is all a positive update. But it is really great to hear how many wonderful ideas have come forward. There are maps that show where they're hopeful that the trails will be able to go and so forth. So I will share those with the selectmen just as soon as I'm able. Didn't have the chance to do that a little earlier today, but I wanted to share the update. Going down my list here a little bit, a reminder for the public, anybody who might be watching this, as well as the selectmen, that the town has posted a request for proposals for public viewing and response for the Bachelor School property. The RFP can be found on our website. We have had a few inquiries, no submitted responses, at least that I'm aware of yet, to our office. Responses are due by 9 a.m. on September 23rd, 2022. Regarding economic development, I've had the chance actually this past week to meet with a couple different businesses that are hopeful to open on Main Street and meet with some landlords as well to try and make sure that we're helping to find them the right match and continue to expand different businesses moving in here to Winstead's Main Street. And I heard about a couple other possible new constructions that may be interested in coming to town, so I will keep you all apprised of that. With the facade and business startup programs, we have now, I believe, 6 different applications in for new business startups. We have 5 remaining $10,000 grants, or forgivable loans, I should say, that could be offered. Just like last time, there were a number that were rejected because they did not meet the criteria. They didn't submit enough information per the small committee that's formed to review these standards. It's possible that might be the case this time, but there might be some really great opportunities in there to continue to pursue economic development here. Beyond that, the Housing Authority does have a new executive director. I am hopeful that individual will attend a selectman meeting in the near future, introduce themselves to you. Since we last met, the town has successfully submitted the approved $500,000 steep grant to the state that occurred last week. And I am very happy to report that the former assistant tax collector, Ashley Kelsey, will become our collector of revenue on a permanent full-time basis, has been the interim over the past several weeks, really made a Herculean effort over the past, like I said, several weeks alone in the office, and doing a wonderful job at it. We have converted over to a new tax collection software, as I reminded everybody by email. That has been moving forward. There have been a couple little hiccups in the road, just trying to make sure that everybody is trained up on where how to generate reports and how to make sure that all the numbers are moving in the right way. But it continues to be a work in progress, and we'll just iron out the kinks as they come. We've had a strategic planning conversation, and I'll continue to work on that document until we set a new meeting date, our next meeting date, I should say. And discussions are continuing with the various unions, and I'll take any questions that you might have.
Anyone have any questions?
I have a couple, Josh.
Yep.
Okay. First question is, the signs that say for Raleigh Street businesses are open, were we involved in that, or was that the Raleigh Street businesses themselves, and how did the town help at all with any of that?
We were involved with that. So it was a couple $100 out of the town manager's communications fund that we'll have left over after the newsletters go out and such. But given how much business they've been losing in that area, and given how many, I imagine, hours have been spent by different people, not all one person spending hours, but over the course of many trips up and down the state's detour route have been wasted because people have been having to drive all the way to Torrington if they're following the state signs. I felt strongly that it's a good initiative to help those businesses in a time where, despite our numerous outreaches to the state DOT, there's a group that's been overseeing this project, they've done relatively little to mitigate that issue. And I don't mean to speak illy of them. They're doing a great job getting that bridge back together, but at the same time, we need to protect our businesses.
From every place I go and I see these signs, I think it's a great idea to have them. I just didn't know if the town had put the money into it or the businesses themselves had initiated that. But you're saying EDC and you had
right.
really done the initiation on that.
That's right.
Very good, thank you. I have another question. We have hired so many new people. We've changed. I'm never sure who's who anymore.
Okay.
Is it possible that perhaps once a month you might be able to provide us with an org chart of who's who and who's sitting in each position? I know we've changed people's names, and I forget who they all are, and I'd love to see that.
No problem.
And finally, you said there's a new housing authority person. Do you know the person's name?
I have it in my email. Sorry I don't remember it off the top of my head, but
That's
before the
fine.
end of the meeting, I'll share it with you.
Yeah, you can share that later.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You can Google them on the Register Citizen. There was an article in the Register.
Yeah, I didn't see it, so.
Any other questions? Piggybacking on Josh, I think when we update our website, I think it would be good to have a little blurb about each department and the people that work in it.
I think so too. That's good.
His name is Kurt Lang.
Thank you. I knew it was okay. There we go.
Seeing nothing else, Finance Director, Anne Marie.
not a very COVID-friendly microphone, I'm just gonna tell you. That's close enough.
You have a nice loud voice. It's good
What?
to hear that.
Thank you, yeah. Everyone tells me that.
It's good.
Good evening. What I'm giving you tonight is your summary through July 31st. I just want to let you know, Candace, I have your pile of papers and I forgot to grab them off my table, so I will get them to you after I do my report. I'll run up and grab them for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So fiscal 23, we are only 1 month into the year. As Josh said, we have a new tax collection system, which is for our tax, our water, and our sewer. And I want to thank all the taxpayers for making timely payments on both their tax and their sewer and water payments. And I appreciate your patience as we continue to work through any conversion glitches, as the town manager mentioned. Property tax revenue for July, and these are preliminary numbers as we continue to reconcile our system with the QDS system. $12,504,000 is our property tax revenue, which is 49% of our budget, in comparison to $11,777,000 in the prior year, same period, which was 48.79%. Our total revenues are $12,665,000, which is 35.13% of our budget, in comparison to $12,000,038, which was 34.5% of our prior year budget. Total expenditures for the month of July, $2.275 million, which is 6.31% of the budget, in comparison to $2,323,000, which was 6.66% for the same period last year. So really, we're just at the start of our new fiscal year. Our cash flow, which is preliminary, as Cindy is still working on cash flow for the month, $18.5 million as of July 31st. Of that, $9.2 million is invested, $4.5 million in the Northwest Sweep account, and $4.7 million in STIF with the state of Connecticut. The July 22 capital expenditures report that you received, there is not a lot of activity. There is a lot of capital activity going on. There has not been a lot of expenditures paid in the month. $8,632 for the Sue Grossman Greenway, and $4,677 for annual road maintenance. That's not to say there's not a lot of work going on. It's just there have not been a lot of payments going out the door. We are still in the process of doing both fiscal 23 payments and fiscal 22 invoices. So we're doing a lot of check runs that have a lot of review to determine which year they belong in. And I appreciate all the departments getting those to us. On the Hinsdale project, we just got off a meeting for the month with the building committee. As in terms of payments, we did receive payment request number 5 on August 2nd that we had put in for. And as for the difference that I had mentioned on payment request number 4 that we received previously that we were waiting for the state to reply on, they did update the retention rate from 11% down to 5%. So that difference that they paid us on the payment 4 was for the retention on payments 1 through 4, and I did go back and verify that that was the correct amount within maybe $1 or so. And on payment number 5, that was received at the 5% retention rate. So across the board, we're only they've only retained 5%. Questions?
Seeing none?
Thank you.
Correspondence, does anyone have anything? Seeing none, boards and commissions.
Thank you. The loan name we have for consideration this evening, Frank Oliveri, is being considered for membership on the IWWC, a permanent member. And if he's accepted, the term will expire in April of '23. But we've just begun the vetting process. And that would be it.
Thank you, Steve. Unfinished business. No unfinished business. New business. Item A, 22-44, refunds as recommended by the Collector of Revenue.
Thank you, Todd. So this is one of those instances in which what the paper you're actually looking at looks a little bit different, but the action is still the same. There's a request from at the time of interim collector of revenue for a refund totaling $918.75 over about 10 to a dozen different individuals, all laid out for you, all due to certificates of correction on motor vehicles and real estate. And I would recommend that the $918.75 refunds be issued as presented.
Are we missing a page? Or
No.
this is all of them? Okay,
Yes, so it says one at the bottom for the start of the list, and it goes on to a second list,
gotcha.
so you can see everything there.
Okay, so that's all.
I make a motion to approve the refunds as recommended by the Collector of Revenue in the amount of $918.75.
I'll second. Thank you, Jack. Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Item 22-45, consider and possibly act on waiving of tax interest for resident.
So this is an interesting one because it's not often that any request for a refund actually comes in, but this was a genuine clerical error that was made. You can see within that there's correspondence and that there's information provided that reveals that back in 2017, that there was a Mary Ellen Lowe, who was the former owner of the property located at River Edge Drive, number G2. It was deeded to a new owner, and a payment has been made, and it included an amount of tax interest in the amount of $162.28 to this person, despite the fact that they haven't been the owner of this property for quite some time, and therefore this interest in question should not have been charged. So this is a request to waive the interest and no longer hold it against this Mary Ellen Lowe. Recommended motions provided.
I move that the Board of Selectmen grant that the tax interest, the amount of $162.28 be waived for 100 Horn Avenue, LLC, River Edge Drive, number G2.
Thank you, Jonathan. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Steve. Further discussion?
I just want to make sure we note that it was state statute that allowed this, and also it was I guess you call it the affidavit by the assessor's office and town clerk that it was their error.
Yes.
Now, this is just the interest and not the actual tax bill, correct?
Correct.
Josh, thank you for the details for all of that, too. There's quite a few pages attached to it.
And really the credit should go to the assessor's office. They put work in knowing that you'd need it.
It was very comprehensive.
No further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. The Board of Selectmen welcomes public comments. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. Please give your name. Anyone wish to speak this round? Seeing none, moving on to Selectmen comments and reports. Anyone have anything? Candy?
Yeah, at the last meeting, we had some questions about the lights at Walker Field. So just a quick update on that. There is a small committee that the Recreation Department formed. The committee right now is looking at the Musco quote that came in a while ago. We're looking at field use. We're looking at when we would need to have the lights up, which will be a year from this fall. This fall, there's no way to make the timing, even if we had ordered them last week, because of the lead time by the manufacturers. And in the spring, they think they can, do without them because there's few programs and because it gets light out every day longer. So they think that they'll be fine with that, which will give us time to write grants and to make sure that the committee gets to make sure that everything, is worked out in detail. The rec department did have a quote. I call it back of the napkin quote because it didn't include like an electrical survey. It was just kind of, this is the size of the field, this is how many lights you want. That one was at 600,000. Remember last week we talked about the number? So we'll be meeting the representative from Musco down at the field on Wednesday, some committee members, and we'll be moving on from there. We have somebody that will be looking at writing grants, and then Josh and the committee, as well as our rec director, are being kept informed, and we will assist in any way we can to make the workload for rec director and for Josh's grant applications as easy as or less work for them to do if we do the footwork on the backside. But the fields, they already have a plan for this fall to be able to get all the teams out there. So they already have that all detailed. Members of the soccer committee and the rec board have that all set and ready to go. So we look forward to continue to work on it and get everything in place for the fall of 23.
Thank you, Candy. Anyone else? All right, I have a couple things. One, the Fireman's Carnival and Parade is next week. The parade will be the 27th at 6 p.m. Wednesday, August 17th, that's this Wednesday at 10 a.m. There'll be another officer sworn in this room. Just a quick note to residents. There's some new no turn on red signs on Main Street, so make sure you're paying attention. You don't want to get a ticket for turning on red when there's a brand new sign that says don't turn on red, especially on Case Avenue. That's a couple of new ones. They're big signs and they're not where you'd think they would be. New social media trend on teaching people how to break into cars, so just a reminder for everyone to lock their cars, keep their valuables locked up, bring them in the house, lock your garage, lock your houses. And then lastly, this one is kind of for you, Candace. Are we having the fall festival this year? No. No. Okay.
So also, the second to the last concert will be on August 18th to Deep, this Thursday. And then one more after that, and then we're going to have salsa on Friday, same week as the carnival. So there'll be 2 concerts next week.
Okay. We'll now be going to executive session, taking the town manager with us. And then we'll be back for adjournment, but we will see you on September 6th. It's a Tuesday, our next meeting, if you're leaving now.
I'll move that we enter executive session with the town manager to discuss potential transfer of town property.
Thanks, Steve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Linda. And it is 7:30. We'll go blue room, that way we don't have to turn it off. Sets it in there.
Guard it with my legs.
Matter of fact,
You don't even trust me, do you?
I've just been forgetting things lately. I just want to get a better habit going.
would say somebody text Glenn, but his phone's right here.
Oh, and don't forget the Hinsdale Open House is the 30th from 4 to 6.
Well, unless we have a special meeting on the charter.
That's weeks
between
away.
now and end of August.
I'm working 2 weeks in advance.
Look, I don't put my name on it anymore.
Whatever you say.
We are back from executive session at 8:27. No action taken. Steve?
I move we adjourn.
I will second.
Thanks, Jonathan. All in favor? Next meeting, Tuesday, September 6th.
And you do not anticipate any meeting of the charter before that?
The Charter Revision Commission is meeting
Tomorrow night.
tomorrow, right. In terms of us getting together, it will depend on the action of the Charter Revision Commission, I imagine, but we might want to meet before
When,
the next.
they're meeting tomorrow, what time?
We're meeting tomorrow, is it at, it's 5?
I think so.
Yeah, it's 5 to 7, 5 to 6:30.
So I think that,
5 o'clock, please.
so I think they should give us a report, and we should just have a special meeting and not wait until the
I want to add an amendment to it.
So that-
But I got a 5 o'clock tomorrow, too.
Special meeting.
Between now and?
Between now and September 1st, I would guess. Soon as possible, put it that way.
Well, when they get their work done, then we can meet, but if you want to add an amendment, you should talk to them tomorrow night.
I know, I got a 5 o'clock
Monday, August 29th, is
Here,
anyone
too.
free
with Conservation
for a
Commission.
special meeting?
Excuse me?
August 29th, Monday? You're gone?
I'll check with men's world.
August 29th. Oh, I may not be here.
Okay. And that won't be a good day because we won't have a quorum.
Can you make it the Friday before or the Thursday before?
Friday works for me. Anytime after 12 p.m.
What would that date be?
Friday's not good for me.
That would be the 26th.
No, that's not,
26th or the 25th?
the 25th is better.
25th is
I
a
can do the
Thursday.
25th.
I have to
Thursday
go,
or Friday?
as long as it's earlier, like 5 o'clock.
Yeah, actually, that's perfect for me. I have a 7.
I'm back in town at 4:30, so anytime after that's good for me on Thursday.
Fine with me, whatever.
Thursday, the 25th, are you saying?
Thursday, the 25th,
At what time, 5?
5 o'clock.
Check out my schedule. So I can see if I can make it. I work 4 to 9.
Okay, if you have any comments on it, write them up for us before that.
Bring them to the, meeting tomorrow night.
Jonathan? If you,
Before that time, we should have their report.
yes, hopefully. Yep. Okay, all in favor of adjournment?
I,
We already did.
Well, just to be